Yeah, welcome to Sunday Live Chat. Yes, today, the one, the only live chat that comes to you on a Sunday, bringing you the enigmatic guests straight from Austin, Texas, the one, the only, Curse Mackey. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, man? So
I'm
good to
doing
see
very
you.
good. Are you behind the veil there of the picture that I just somehow lost? How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Welcome once again. This has been uh, now your second adventure here with us today. Of course, what a great poster! I have to say, first of all, Simon, have to say, and you were look at that. Do you think that you've grown any older in the 2 years?
I'm sure I did. It might be on the inside, but yeah, maybe the air in Texas is good for the skin.
Speak closer to your mic because it is still quite quiet.
Okay,
Yeah, there you go. That's
how's
better.
that?
Yeah, that's way
Better.
better.
Okay,
Anybody
I
that's
can. If you want another volume boost, I can do that too.
anybody that's not hearing Curse today, it's not just your system. It's because we've got maybe a special surprise set up for later, so we won't even let you know. But so it's been, I think the last time we spoke, like COVID had just began, and or in some cases in Canada we say begun. But you were on tour with Clan of Zymox mid-tour, and then they just came to you one day and said, "That's it." And I think that's where we were last at when we were checking in. Why don't you pick us up from there? How have you been for one? Did you get COVID? Did you make it through?
I got COVID. I made it through, um, and so that was essentially 2 years ago that we spoke, Kevin. And in those last 2 years, of course, we've all gone through much of the same variation on a theme of head fuck, heartache. Where's this all going? My existence is completely fractured, and reality as I knew it is completely changed to where everybody's on a completely different information diet now, and the future is quite uncertain too in many ways. But at least now I feel a lot better than I did when we were speaking. I went through, we had to move twice during COVID, like during the shutdown. Rona Rougeheart, my lovely gal from the band Sign,
They
my
got
partner, she and I, we had to move twice, and then, but we were on tour with Clan of Zymox, and hang on, I'm going to turn my mic up a bit.
Joey, he's trying to turn up his mic just a tad. Here we go.
How's that?
Oh, that's even better.
Okay, great. I was
Hello
on tour
from
with Clan of Zymox. We were having a great tour in March of 2020, coming off of a fall tour that we already did, and then I had been out with my life with the Thrill Kill Cult. So things are going very well. But we were on the West Coast and moving along well. We had sellout shows in Seattle, Portland, and then we got to San Francisco, I think. And that was the first day that that was like March 5th or 6th, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, there's this thing going around, and it's really serious. And we had a sold-out show at the Chapel in San Francisco, Bellwether Syndicate, Clan of Zymox, Twin Tribes. And that was strange. Like, we kind of sensed something was unlike anything we had faced as humans living was coming our way. And then we played the LA show, and that went well. And then we made it to Phoenix, and that was when I think things were starting to drop off. Then by the time we got to Texas, we played a sold-out show in Austin, then Dallas on March 13th, and then at March 14th, 2020, we were at Numbers in Houston.
legendary.
And that's when it was official. Like, we had a feeling that something was coming down because other tours were starting to cancel, and it was at that point we decided, like, let's not leave the state of Texas. It's the easiest way for everybody to get home. Fortunately, Rona and I only had to drive back to Austin from Houston, but Clan of Zymox, those guys had to make it all the way to Leipzig, and flights were being canceled. It took them several days. Their sound man, Damien, Jesus Complex, he ended up going to Brazil thinking he could ride it out with friends, and then couldn't find a place to stay. So we were very fortunate to get home easy. And then, but like I said, Zymox had quite the time. And after that, it was we felt like maybe things are going to be postponed for a bit. But then after the Zymox tour, there was also a 45-city Pigface tour that was coming up. First major, well, we did 20 shows in 2019, but this was going to be 45 cities. It was massive. And unfortunately, we're just hoping, and then all of a sudden that tour took a bite, and we couldn't do that, and everybody's lives were canceled. And then that just continued to be the trend for me all the way through 2020. Everything that I had lined up, 80 shows, including that Pigface tour, just were annihilated. So I was very depressed, sad. I thought about quitting music. I didn't know, or life. I was just like, what the hell's going on? And it took some time to get through that and kind of regain my direction and inner fortitude to figure out a way to survive this and not let it take me down, because it's going to take a lot of people down. And it's like, if you still want to be making music or whatever your passion is, whatever your job is after the break of COVID, it really calls into question a lot of your priorities and how bad do you want it. So, but fortunately, I think things are starting to allow us to get back to it. So we'll see.
I mean, you stayed working during the time during on new stuff, right? Particularly the album that's about to come out, the Immoral Emporium. I guess you've been working on this for the better part of the time, or is that how it goes?
It's a 2-year project for Chase Dobson and I. I started writing songs on February 4th, 2020. Just doing a couple of sketches while I had a little bit of free time. So when I came home from the Zymox tour, I would have something to work on. So that's the first 2 songs I wrote are essentially the last 2 songs on the album, tracks 9 and 10, the title track, and another one called Omens and Monuments. And it's pretty dark. I mean, that album, it takes me through an arch of where things, like on my first album, Instant Exorcism, everything was very phantasmagorical, religious allegories in a phantasmic, surreal type of existence, very sci-fi dystopia with religious, devilish undertones kind of vibes. Whereas Instant Exorcism was that, and then Immoral Emporium essentially picks up where Instant Exorcism left off, but all of a sudden that strange dystopia that was always a sci-fi fantasy now is completely a real existence, and we have to figure out how do we get through this without wanting to give up. And kind of it's about the transformation from where we were to where we are now, and taking more time to live in the moment. And so Lacerations, that cover right there, is one of the EPs that I released last year, and that's also the first single. There's a different version on the album, but that Lacerations is essentially the single. And that was put together by me and Chase Dobson, and then my good friend Justin McGrath worked with us on that one. Justin does a lot of work with 9 Inch Nails and produced Kanga's last record, and great guy. So he's good. He likes playing with gadgets, modular synths, and just audio manipulation in very strange ways. So he put some cool loops in there that we took further. So definitely stayed creative, and we worked on a lot of live streaming, taught ourselves how to live stream, and then Rona Rushart, we got involved in the producers program at Austin Public Television, where they have an actual TV station here, broadcast on local television as well as worldwide on Roku and Amazon. So she produced a TV show called Villains Wear Black Presents that I helped co-produce, and so we basically created 2 full seasons, 24 episodes of actual live television, almost like 120 minutes meets Night Flight. So showing weird short films, rock music videos, artist features, and so that was kind of fun, learning to produce television. So
nice old school stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, beforehand you had been performing what with David J and Rona and
our friend Heather on violin. Yeah. So that photo is taken from a event in 2019 called Performa, which is the largest performing arts festival in the United States. It's a biennial, takes place every other year in Manhattan. And like Yoko Ono is on the board of directors, and they have the Lou Reed Achievement Award. Malcolm McLaren Lifetime Achievement Award is something they give out. Shep Pettibone got it this year. Lou Reed got it the previous year. But the theme of this performa was the 100th centennial of the founding of the Bauhaus School of Art and Design. So when it came to the musical aspect, they wanted, in essence, a member of Bauhaus. And so they contacted David J. to basically do a commission to create an original piece of music for a 1-hour performance at the finale of Performa, where the Malcolm McLaren Award would be given out and all the artists were recognized. So we basically, Rona and I composed, like about like an hour-long, 5-movement, ambient, orchestral kind of piece that we then jammed on freeform at the event for an hour, just freestyling with David J. and Rona and Heather, and we had an awesome Butoh dancer, Evangeline, from New York City, so she was out there in her really cool-looking costume, and it was very Dada-esque, the whole thing. We had the design team from ARUP, AURP, in New York, and they did all the spatial graphics and video production for us, and they're the team responsible for Bjork's cornucopia echo chamber thing that she had on tour for the cornucopia tour. Really cool environmental design. So that was really magical. I had to leave the Pigface tour for 2 days to do that event with David J. and then rejoin the tour. But it was an honor to play with David and do that in New York. And with that, we recorded that whole show, multi-camera shoot and multi-track audio. So we're going to put that out as a part of a body of work that we're designing. There's also an album of recorded music that I'm not supposed to talk about too much.
This project that it will be.
What's that?
Is there going to be a name for the project as a whole?
Yeah, there's going to be a name for it. Shiva Saves is the name of the project.
Okay. Yes, it's good to say that again, because I didn't think I caught the sibilance on that. I'm so
Shiva Saves.
Shiva Saves.
Shiva Saves. Like Jesus saves, but
yeah,
Shiva.
I always ask Rihanna to put on the CC whenever I watch a movie. I'd probably put it on everything if I could. But no, that's great, and it's no myth that I guess after that you were inducted into the official Bauhaus sort of world by having to stand in for Peter Murphy. I know we covered this last chat, but
yeah.
What's important is that you're building up and ramping up this whole whirlwind of activity that all over the place, whether it be in your own world or with Pigface or filling in for Peter Murphy. I mean,
well, that was a very fortunate event because Sign, Rona, was the support act for Peter Murphy, 40 years of Bauhaus.
Fortunate.
It was a final tour date, and then she played her show. I did a guest spot singing with her on a song called Drugs off the Sign record. And David J. was watching, and as I left the stage, he and I started chatting, and that's when he was alluding to the fact that Peter very well may not show up for the gig because he wasn't feeling well. It was the second time that he had canceled on that audience, so it was a near riotous occasion once the cancellation was announced. And David J. was like, "Hey, listen, I'm annoyed. I don't want to send you guys home without a show. So Rona and Curse are going to come out here with me and Mark Gemini Thwaite and Mark Slutsky, and we're gonna do something. We'll be right back." And then we quickly bonded over Killing Joke and Dub and came up with a deconstructed approach. Unfortunately, my old band, Evil Mothers, we had bonded. The way we became a band was by doing Bauhaus covers.
Oh, nice.
So that was the only reason that I was willing to raise my hand to go, I will sing if you want, and it worked out well, but otherwise I would have never put myself in that situation.
I mean, fortunate.
It was just a lucky break that like the very beginning of my musical career allowed for that. Yes.
Is that like the beginning there?
Yeah, that's so the beginning. That's great.
I mean,
that was taken in Dallas. Yeah.
I don't know if, in fact, I got the right picture here? Yeah.
Yeah, that's an old one. I got my William Burroughs shirt on, and taken in the field out in San Antonio outside of our old rehearsal studio.
You guys ever hung out with the Butthole Surfers?
Yeah, we know the Butthole Surfers.
I mean,
We're the next best band out of San Antonio.
that's what I was going to say. Yeah, I mean, it's like absolutely essential. I mean, the spirit of San Antonio and everything. I'm gathering this is how Martin heard or was exposed to the Evil Mothers and the legend of Curse Mackey. Is that
That's right.
is how,
It- it-
isn't it great how it's like, okay, Rona's opening for Bauhaus, and then you get that in, and then you're playing with Pigface, and then you get that in, and then all of a sudden you're just like, you earned your way up with cred and credibility and growing on the ladder. So you meet Martin, and the next thing you know, it's like I mean, where do you stop? It's like,
Well, that I think you stop either when you don't have any more energy for it, or you just die fucking trying. And it just doesn't matter though. Like what everything in the past is, unless you continue, it's nice. Those are great memories, but it's all about taking that energy and continuing now. And I think now there's another opportunity to uh, continue to make those types of memories. I really, I'm grateful for all of those things that you were mentioning. This little trail of events that have led to one opportunity to the next. Like, barely, near-death experience creates a great life.
kind of get this feeling you're going to keep building again now that the world's seemingly coming back online. So is there any plan to get back together with the Master Martin and start scheming on this, or are you going to devote yourself to the world of Curse Mackey for a while?
I'm available anytime for Pigface. Of course, I love it. I mean, to get to jam with Ruby and Danny Carey and Inesh,
I mean,
Randy
you even
Blythe.
got to
Oh my
float on an audience in a raft. Are you serious?
Yeah, that
I
was
mean,
a
come
House
on.
of Blues. I know. The audience is part of, they're like the 12th man of the band when it comes to Pigface. There's nothing better. It just is, it will bring tears to your eyes of like, it's such an insane show, but the magic and harmony with the audience, that's really what I love about it. And then, of course, getting to, jump around on Martin's kit and watching him smash a disco ball with his fist. And it's just, there's nothing else like it. And the cool thing is that Martin and I met when I brought Ministry to San Antonio on the Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste tour. And we all went out to eat. So it was me, Jorgensen, Martin, William Tucker, rest in
Bravo.
peace, Paul Barker, Conley. Everybody was there, Jolly.
Was
And
Jolly there?
yeah, that's when I met Jolly.
This is Jolly here. Look at, I love that guy.
Jolly was like, "Hey, little dude, ministry ain't going on until the Germans get some beer." Talking about KMFDM, and so I just took him to the walk-in cooler of the venue, and I just opened it up, and it was stacked full of Heineken, and I was just like, "Have at it, let's get them on," And he just took like 6 cases and just, raided the closet of beer, and then he just loved me ever since, and eventually became my tour manager, Pigface tour manager, Skinny Puppy, of course. He was out with you
Absolutely.
guys a lot, and it's great to have guys like that looking after you.
He's a,
So after that Ministry tour, then Martin called me. Was like, "Hey, I'm putting this Pigface thing together. We want to do a show in San Antonio." And I think they were all still high from the Ministry tour by the time they got to San Antonio, but it was funny. And that was the first day. That was the second Pigface show, and then the first time that I was ever on stage with Pigface. Yeah, because
you were just thrown on and given a mic.
we that first time we brought all the Evil Mothers drums. We used to have, all our rehearsal
Right,
space
yeah.
was in the venue, and we had all our metal drums, oil drums that we would set on fire. So basically, we did the big tribal drum off with Rieflin and Atkins, and just pounded on drums and set on metal oil drums on fire, and ogres just ranting into the microphone, and Paul Ravens there. It's just insane. Crowd was going nuts. So from then, we just got invited to continue on, and then that was Raven said the next night, I think in Houston, he's like, "Get up there and sing during the encore," and just gave me a mic, and so that was kind of my slow, instant, I guess, involvement in Pigface, and have been involved in a lot of shows ever since. So yeah, That's always good. So I'm always down for Pigface, and but yeah, to answer your question, the summer will mostly be about this new record of mine and getting it out there and playing these shows.
And it's good to say that since since COVID, you managed to get out and do a few shows. What the Absolution, sorry, Abs? How do you say
Yeah,
that?
Absolution Fest.
Absolution Fest. Was that with Front 242
No, that was
on your own?
on my own. That's put on by the awesome people you probably know: Tom Gold and Mark Paradise, Communion After Dark, all the crew from the Castle in Ybor City, Tampa. It's their festival. It's awesome. Another really fun, great group of people that I love. And after living in Tampa for many years, it was nice that Absolution Fest was my first official show back. And then from there, did shows with Front 242 and Night Sareb. And then ultimately, then I broke my foot and
On stage?
got COVID. No, at home. That was in December. Then we got COVID in January. So those December and January kind of fucked up months. And then in February, I had to get back in shape because I had South by Southwest. So Chase and I were just busting ass on getting my record done in time for me to do shows so I could play some new songs. And then played 2 shows for South by Southwest, and it was out of that I kind of locked in my next deals for getting this record out.
So you got, does Chase live in Austin there with you?
Now Chase is in Denver, but we first met in Tampa when we both lived down there. He was already working in audio production and also happened to work in the synth department at Thoroughbred Music, which was the great music store down in Tampa.
Nice.
So we just kind of met there over a pile of broken synthesizers, and he helped me put my MIDI studio together in Tampa years ago. And we had just talked about always trying to do something, and it never came to be until Instant Exorcism, and I was at a point where I had all my songs, and I just needed some other ears and somebody that I knew appreciated the music that I liked and that I could trust, and called Chase, and we just knocked it out. And then he got involved earlier in this new record, which he probably regrets, but
I see. Hey, Chase, big up. I see him on the side here.
it's amazing.
I see Rona on the side here too. Hey, Rona. Hey, Chase. Hey, everybody. So how is it that you guys work together? What is your typical way that you like to exchange ideas and get going on stuff?
Yeah, typically I will advance a song a pretty good ways on my own, and then when I'm ready to share it and get that second set of ears and additional greater audio engineering expertise, that's kind of where Chase comes in, and he may have additional musical ideas, might throw down a couple extra parts. He's always great with the great bass line and punchy drums. So his sound design skills are able to take my rough ideas and magnify them in a really symbiotic way. So we work together in a lot of ways as it's almost like a 2-man band project at times. Where Chase is kind of like in an Adrian Sherwood front of house position, but also brings some musicality to the project. And then a couple of songs on the new record, or I would almost say are co-writes, where he had some ideas or maybe threw down a bass line or a little guitar riff, and I'll take that as samples essentially and do my thing and recompose that, and then we'll get back together. So this record was mostly remote. I did go to Denver, where he lives, for about 5 days, which was really beneficial to the record. And then we found some other ways to work remotely, in sync, virtually. But it's challenging. It takes forever to do it this way, versus being in the room together.
It's become the new way, though, isn't it? It's like exchange, and then so. Did you guys find it important to be on the same format, or do you guys both work on Logic, or what do you like to work in?
We use Ableton.
Ableton.
Yeah.
So you just exchange the session?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Share sessions. So there's just tons of data to keep track of, so many mixes, and it's just really, I think that part is, the creative side is is fun and interesting. It's really the data management and the time waiting, like, hey, check this out. Okay, let's make an adjustment. And then it takes another day to get back to each other. That stuff's exhausting. I think that this record took 2 years, but we probably could have done it faster in regular, you know, pre-COVID days. We
Regular
would
world,
have
yeah.
faster. But it's okay. This is it's a milestone record for me. The storyline is very now. It has a lot to do what I went through and what I feel like other people are going through, while still being a kind of crazy dark wave industrialized record. But it's not a throwback. It sounds to me really futuristic and contemporary, while paying homage to those that have come before, the pioneers of noise and industrial experimental music. You know, that's always a part of what I do, but I just want to have my own sound, and I think that this record really got us there. And lyrically, it continues on, and it does get kind of dark. I'm a little more exposed vocally. I think the vocals are out front more, less hidden behind effects, and allows my lyrical presentation to be a little more personal and vulnerable as well. So this album makes me a little more, like I say, uncomfortable in terms of what people are going to think about it, which I like, because I know that I'm challenging myself artistically as opposed to just being in a comfort zone of mimicking my last record. And thematically, I mean, it's kind of an intense record from the last song. I'm really writing it from the perspective of already being dead. And I did that purposefully because I'm not really a suicidal person. I know that we all have these emotions at times where you think about it. And I have had friends that didn't make it through COVID and have passed away from other reasons. I know you have too. But for me, when I wrote a song about being gone and looking at things from the other side, and how much I would miss my life and my friends and my family, that I wrote that song so I would never, that it was basically me banishing suicide from my life, that I would never ever go that far. And by writing a song from that perspective, I think I was able to exercise that thought from my mind. And so now I feel like anything that happens to me in my life, even bad things, are all going to be part of a good story. So I think that's the best part of COVID, is that I kind of got a grip on the wild thoughts of my mind, and took a little bit more of a stoic approach to really appreciating the things I have, instead of worrying about the shit that I don't.
You're saying it's a little more naked then.
At times, yeah, I think vocally for sure,
Yeah.
which I like.
When you were approaching the album, how would you get yourself motivated to say, this is going to be an idea for my song, for my album? Because like, I find a lot of times when you go to go sit down, you won't be like direction enough. Well, I'm speaking for myself. Won't be direction enough to say, hey, I'm actually working on a song. I'll just sit around and then it becomes an idea that I'll think like, okay, maybe this might be a song. But did you have some sort of inspiration to say, okay, I direction myself to make the album I want this time? Or is it from all the experiences?
It's really a mix of that, because that last song kind of became, initially when it begins musically, and I apologize to Chase for some of the early goings of the record, because I was just working on ambient dirges, and they were very fluid and like melted clay. And to get some of those to actually be a song that now has a real arrangement, to some degree a pop traditional song arrangement, was a shit ton of work, and I probably won't work that way again. But to your point, some of the stuff begins as just explorations to see if I find something that I like, that I know then will become a song. But by the time I'm working on songs 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and I know I need songs to meet a deadline at that point, it's all song-based composition. Like, this is going to be a song for the record, hopefully, if it's good, right? So that's the way I work. It starts out a little bit goopy and then gets solid at the end.
Yeah. So I know, when a guy is writing music and lyrics, kind of like, ideally, do you guys approach it like where you actually find the way for the lyrics to work later when you get the music all fleshed out? Or you'll be like, okay, I know that there's a hole in there. I know that there's room in there, and I'll leave it that way. But or I know that other people write lyrics and a melodic structure based on those lyrics, and then write the music to follow. Do you ever do that?
I'm writing more from I have my notebook where there's the constant collection of poetic witticisms or whatever that I'm like, I will divulge really my master secret when it comes to writing lyrics is through a ritual. It's very dangerous. It's called Mad Libs. Do you know what Mad Libs are?
I don't. Let's
Okay.
learn.
Oh, all right. Mad Libs are. It's like a book. It's a game that we used to play it all the time as a kid. But you can buy the books. But basically, it'll be a sentence, and you have to fill in the blank, like adjective, noun, or it's a story, like right, and like haunted Mad Libs. It might be about a cemetery, but all the nouns and adjectives and adverbs and all of that have been removed. So when you're playing Mad Libs, the
Okay,
game
yeah, I get.
master will just go, "Hey, give me a noun," and you're like, "Whatever, penis," and then whatever, and then you just read the story. So sometimes just the absurdities of making up words, and playing other surrealist games. So I'm definitely into the surrealism stream of conscious of the lyrics and writing down poetry, getting inspired by things we hear as we're just out living life, and then molding that to find a little hook within whatever pile of stuff I've written and go, okay, this would work very well with this beat that happens to be going on over here. So it's interesting. The words are working in tangent while the music's being made, and eventually they merge.
That's amazing.
Rarely do I start. Yeah.
Before we forget, like, when will the album drop? When will Immoral Emporium drop?
Immoral Emporium will drop on September 9th,
All right.
9/9/2022 in the U.S. or North America on Negative Gain.
Negative
That's the
Gain.
same organization that put out my first record, and those guys are great, Roger and Micah.
Where are they from?
They're from Chicago.
Chicago. Nice. Big up Negative Gain.
Yeah, and actually Roger lives out in the L.A. area now. Used to have a band Kevorkian and Death Cycle back in the
Oh, of
day.
course.
So
We remember the Kevorkians.
yeah, good people. And then Young and Cold Records out of Germany is going to handle the European distribution, and that'll come out just a little bit later, probably October. So there'll be vinyl, two different editions of vinyl, the
Nice.
import and the domestic. And so I think it's good for me to have a couple of different partners to help expand the global reach without being spread too thin. And I'm really excited about the potential to play in Europe as well next year or when the time seems right.
So
Yeah,
I
so
gather
September.
you're also putting your live show together and thinking about that phase if you've got an album in the can.
That's right. Got to get it going, make it look good, sound good. Chase and I do a lot of work after the record is done. From there it's breaking out all the songs into remix stems, taking a look at what's the best way to perform a song live, what parts do I want to try to play live while dealing with my vocal duties, and then Rona helps me out immensely. So there's MIDI program lighting and
Oh, nice.
projection for every song when appropriate. And it all kind of comes down to what I like to be. I want to be super modular with my setup because some days there's like 4 feet of stage if I'm supporting an act and it's a shallow stage. It can get really tough. So sometimes projection doesn't work as well. So I need to have the right lighting setup or smaller footprint type of setup to be really on and off stage as quickly as possible. And when we're flying, that's creates another set of challenges in terms of packing. So I've really learned just to try to be as streamlined as possible while still putting on a visually compelling show.
Yeah. I kind of started feeling lazy, or that we were being lazy for a bit because so many artists are programming their own light show within their setups. It's not just like, just presenting the music anymore. You've got a full technical central going back there. I just saw Chris Corner the other day do an IMX set where he again is controlling absolutely everything, one man band show. And he has everybody on headphones,
Saw that. Yeah.
which were like, mobile. I don't know if they're through Wi-Fi or what, but so we're monitoring the same mix he's hearing on stage. And it was quite amazing to be able to either choose to listen to it with his mix or pull an ear off and hear the live sound. It was quite cool. So like, yeah, the whole element of like changing the approach to a show and becoming like this one machine. Yeah, modular, get it in and out. So what do you foresee happening? Is it going to be, can we suggest who's in the band? Who's going to be in the touring group?
So far, I'm typically solo. Is how I've been doing this, and that's been working out fine. I would like to expand at some point, but really the situations that I've been in, where I'm providing support with Zymox or opening for TKK, I think right now it works well for me just to be a one-man act, and I'll expand as the opportunities arise when there's more room, more budgets, after some things are figured out a little bit more. That may be a 2023 decision for me. But right now, yeah, like it's fun just to do it. After being in Evil Mothers, Pigface, My Life with the Thrill Kill Cult, I mean, these are awesome bands with great people and a ton of gear, multiple drum kits. Like, it's kind of fun just to get up there and like I can be up and running in 10 minutes and broken down in 10 minutes and do my show and hang out. So, and it's also a bit of a challenging thing for me because it's just me. So it adds a little bit of feeling of stage fright and nervousness, which I like feeling that sometimes, just to keep it real.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. And like, you can have fun because you don't have to worry about any other egos or any other thing that could go wrong. You can just like have as much fun as you bring.
Yeah,
I know that sounds silly,
cool.
but you do have a gig booked, Seattle, coming up in what's that? June 30th.
June 30th, Mechanismus Festival. That'll be my first official show back, so to speak, for this beginning of whatever tour cycle is to come over the next really 2 years. But this is entering back into the waters. Mechanismus Fest in Seattle is incredible. I'll be playing with Health, Leather Strip, Ivarden Sphere, Cyanotic. We're all on one day. I mean, these guys are ambitious.
Ivarden Sphere, Health, Leather Strip.
It's like 5 nights of so
the
much.
28th through the 2nd, it looks like it, with after parties. Looks like
it's like an
at the
industrial
Crocodile.
vacation in Seattle.
Yeah.
And then I go down to Portland on July 2nd for the 10th anniversary party of Songs from Under the Floorboard, X-Ray FM. So that should be fun at the Coffin Club. And I love playing Seattle and Portland, so it's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely great cities to play. Fantastic support always from those people in those cities. Awesome. Well, that's great to know. Let's take some questions, shall we?
Yeah, most definitely.
Says, here's one here. Let me show you. I'll show you the questions. Okay, so yeah, Jason Miles. Hey, Curse, any chance we'll get a co-headlining tour with you and Sign? Caught you guys back at Absolution together, and Ebor would love to have you back.
I would love to get on the road with Sign. So, and that's something we've been talking about, and of course, we want to take Rona's Villains Wear Black Presents. That show started out as a live music series, essentially, and it had to pivot to television during COVID. So we had been starting to put together a series of parties. So I foresee that happening again, Jason.
Good. And I bet that it must, I mean, isn't it good to tour with the family? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The best.
Yeah, absolutely. Always the best. What do we got here? We got another question from Mr. Joey Galvin. I've heard you know that guy.
Oh, yeah. What's
Please
up, Joey?
Big up, Joey. Please forgive if this was asked in the last chat, but can you tell stories of how you two know each other? I know Curse showed up at a really young and a vivisect tour video you posted. Was he responsible for booking skinny puppy shows in Texas?
I was responsible for booking some skinny puppy shows in Texas.
So young, so young.
I know we were ambitious, and that was great. That's the Vivisect 6 Skinny Puppy tour. I believe it was October '88. That's when you and I met. When you guys came to San Antonio, I'm pretty sure that was where it was.
And I think maybe we told the story. We can tell it slightly again because it doesn't get old. Oh my God.
That's Raleigh, David. There I am. Yeah.
That's when we first met, right there.
Yeah.
And do you remember what we were doing? By the way, folks, you can go, and if you look on the Patreon and search this thing, SP USA 88 Vivisect Tour behind the scenes, you'll see, I think it's a 30-minute long episode or something.
Oh, wow.
And you can see Curse at this nice young age, after he just believed you just taken me to the Alamo. And then now what you were introducing to me was the classic story of the Pico de Gallo.
All right.
And being a Canadian, I had never heard of Pico de Gallo, and so that was the face I made. What's Pico de Gallo? You looked at me like, is he serious? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Canadian.
Yeah, I think we took you to have fajitas as well. So we went to the Alamo. That's amazing. So yeah, Joey, I put on a few skinny puppy shows, certainly through Last Rites. I think we got about that far, and then you guys, bigger promoters also started realizing how awesome Skinny Puppy was. It became harder to compete with. Yeah, those were great days. Two Dark Park tour we did. That one was epic.
Were you the guy that was responsible for not turning on the AC?
I would think not.
That's the one thing that I'll always remember about those shows is how darn hot they were. I mean, I don't think I've ever experienced it that hot, but it was like sauna hot.
Definitely.
It was challenging, but I do remember meeting you, and so thus it's been great to watch. You know, I guess Evil Mothers, have they? You formed a year earlier, hadn't you already, or did you form after that?
Evil Mothers was not quite there yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just coming along.
Yeah.
That scene probably inspired you guys to get out the metal and start bashing on the metal and stuff.
That's right. You and FM Einheit.
Oh yeah. Did you ever get a chance to see him bash metal?
Yeah, we opened for Neubauten in London, and that was awesome. And then Einheit toured opening for Pigface one year. We had Dead Voices on air and FM Einheit as support for a tour with his own band, FM Einheit Orchestra or whatever it was called. So yeah, every night we hung out with Mufti.
He's amazing. The first time that I ever saw Neubauten, it really, my attention went to him because of just how radical he was. This is about 85 when he just had junkyard shit all over the stage. It was just like something I'd never seen. And I've never lost that inspiration. Do you still play? Do you still get out the metal drums, or do you still, what's going on with Evil Mothers and the crew these days?
Evil Mothers is pretty much probably a buried project. I don't foresee it coming back to life as a performance entity. We did shows. We did Cold Waves. We did, I think probably the last one was 2014. And Bob Dog, the guitarist from Evil Mothers, also plays in Pigface. So I get to jam with him some, but pretty much looking ahead at this point into the solo project and whatever else may come.
Do you think that you've given inspiration to anybody in Austin to become like the new, oh my God, they've seen the Evil Mothers, they grew up on all this shit, now watch out?
I have to apologize all the time for inspiring people to make the mistake of getting into music. I'm just kidding.
Be real.
Yeah, right. Sometimes I do get nice compliments, and they surprise me that people, it's kind of an interesting thing for people to tell you how that you may have inspired them to start playing music, and that has happened to me a few times, which makes me feel good. And hopefully they make better choices and better music.
But I mean, I've always thought like Texas has got quite a vibrant scene. You know, great support for the underground, always really has been.
Absolutely.
Do you still feel that it's alive and well?
I think it had dipped some, but the shows are doing well, like Nitzareb, Front 242. All those were sellouts. Numbers is doing great. 40 years into being a nightclub. There's a really nice resurgence, I feel, of younger musicians making darker electronic music again, which is great. And Austin has a really good underground electronic scene, good like party scene. Good venue structure, good network. So yeah, I think it's a real good time. I mean, there's so many fucking bands
Yeah.
out there that it must be a good time, or people are at least having a lot of fun trying to figure out whether they can make a living as a band or not. But right now, I do feel that there is high interest in dark wave, industrial electronic music, and that's probably going to be a wave that will continue through this decade.
You think that as times go on, as things get more expensive and cities become more pricey, do you think that that like pushes out the ability for people to have fun enough to have these type of scenes?
It's a really good question. I feel that is happening in like Austin. Got 40% more expensive between this year and last in terms of home prices and rentals, even, and we were paying so much. So I think that can have a negative impact on people that have grown up in the city more than people moving to a city. Like Austin is expensive for the locals, but people that are moving here in droves from California and other places don't seem to find it as expensive. So I think that as long as there's clubs to play and people making good music, then people will go see that music. Whether it's dark electronic music, that's up to the composers to get out there and do that.
Do you find that a lot of people from California have headed that way?
Oh yeah, immensely. This place has changed so much. Like it's just flipped. It's like somebody bought the whole city and then sold it again.
Really?
40% markup.
Now,
Yeah.
I mean, South by Southwest is seen as a good thing, though, or do the bands kind of see it as a corporate thing?
South by Southwest improved this year because it was much more localized, because it had been shut down for 2 years. So it was sort of a little bit of a dress rehearsal and more low key, which was great because the huge commercialized aspects of like having Doritos building a 3-story giant Dorito machine with Lady Gaga playing on top, creating a total mess downtown. Like that kind of stuff wasn't taking place. It was much more indie. So I think that was good, and it was good that all of the venues and all of the production people, especially all the venue workers, all had a good 2-week run of earning income that they hadn't been able to get for 2 years. And I mean, we do a lot of business during South by Southwest, so citywide. So that was the best thing, is that at least it got to happen.
Do you guys have a club in Austin that is your scene club?
Elysium is
Elysium.
the Elysium.
Elysium.
Yeah, is the best place. I think the most consistent, and there are several other places. Cheer Up Charlie's, the Mohawk, Empire Garage, which would be an awesome place for Skinny Puppy. Stubbs. There's a lot of places doing cool stuff. We get a lot of good shows here.
What about emos? I noticed you didn't mention that.
Yes, Emos is a little bit off the beaten path now, but they do. Ministry played there, so that's actually a good venue for you too. Good production there. It's more of like just a venue these days. Emos used to be a cool club that had was a live music club. Now it's very just a big quality room.
Yellow, back in the day, I mean, even in the videos that I can look back on, I mean, a lot of the clubs we played barely had ceilings when we were in Austin. It's like, it's just like.
Oh, the Showcase Special Event Center in San Antonio was that like 10-foot ceiling clearance, like an old Piggly Wiggly grocery store or some shit
Yeah, I
converted
mean,
into a metal venue.
it was kind of
Yeah, I
cool, but
hated
like,
that stuff.
has those days passed now, or that's
Yeah,
still
I think so.
happening?
Yeah, no, that place is long gone. Uh,
Oh, what a shame.
San Antonio's changed a lot too. But yeah, what else we have question
Roland
wise?
Swagger. Hey, Roland, I believe you're tuning in from Amsterdam. Uh, Kevin, if Chase Dobson is also joining the chat, can you please give him some advice on how to deal with modular synth addiction? I know he's fallen down the rabbit hole in the last year, and I worry for him. Maybe you should stage an intervention. Is this true?
I think that's actually what the whole point of this conversation is. It's just a
Intervention.
ruse to get Chase intervened upon. That's a good addiction for him. He's a good guy,
Absolutely.
and he makes great noise.
Chase, I know you're unable to comment and address synth addiction, but you know, in some ways, do you find that like when you guys are approaching music now, do you guys think modular, or is it more so let's think about hardware synths?
I personally am a little bit more of just a hardware synth, and then working with a mini log, a bunch of electribes, Nord modular, G2,
And
Org, Yamaha CS5.
well, that's good hardware.
Yeah, and then I use, usually probably when I first start working on a song, I'm either just finding a kind of an arpeggiated riff on the mini log, or maybe I'm just noodling around in Absinthe and just playing some MIDI stuff and getting some notes down.
The mini log is damn cool. I have one myself, and it's just it kind of is one of those things where in a few years somebody will see it and feel how it works and see how it works and be like, damn, why didn't I get one of these?
Yeah, I like traveling with it. I was using my Nord as a live keyboard, but it's just starting to get beat up, and I don't want to kill that keyboard.
Do you have a favorite synth for the favorite synth club? Like a synth you can't live without?
Since I can't live without, I probably go with the mini log at this point, because
Mini
that's like
log.
my live. That's the thing that I use live, and it was really the really foundational in me getting my first few songs kick-started on Instant Exorcism, like "Oh Blasphemy" and "After You Destruction." A lot of mini log. We were running the mini log. Charles Godfrey, my other engineer friend that I record my vocals with, we were running the mini log through some really big, like this brand called Worshipper in Austin. They make cabinets for like High on Fire and Sleep and Sunno and Lemmy, like all the big sludgy doom guys love these Worshipper cabinets. So we were running the mini log through the Worshipper cabinet and then recording that with microphones and kind of getting a really edgy, bitey, evil synth sound. So I'm still kind of fairly tactile.
No, but that's a good idea. A lot of people like to hear that stuff. Hey, that's a simple, it's not your everyday thing to know that some people like cabinets and then you mic that cabinet and everything. That's like you just gave out one of your secrets.
That's all right. I think it's okay to share secrets.
Chase chimed in here and said Ableton is basically a modular synth by nature, especially with Max 4 Live. These days, it's a handshake between hardware and software. I agree.
Yep.
37, Access Virus, Prophet 8, and Octatrack. Chase, I don't see any Eurorack in there, so maybe the Eurorack addiction got sorted before it went too far. It's so funny. One of my friends is going through the Eurorack addiction currently, and when it happens, you kind of step back and warn them, but just watch cautiously and hope that they make it out. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. He's in denial. Okay. We got another question here from Hugh. Where did Hugh's question go? Hugh says, do you have any pre-stage routines or rituals?
Well, it's all of kind of, I just try not to get too stressed out and keep my think I try to keep my heart rate and pulse at a reasonable low key flow until it's time. And then beforehand, I like to stretch a little bit, maybe do a few sit-ups or push-ups or run in place for a minute or two just to get the heart rate up. Have a glass of red wine or maybe a little shot of vodka and a coffee and go. Just get dressed. I kind of just try to get in. I try to just, as I'm getting ready, I think I just start trying to visualize.
No green power?
Depends on the day. Yeah, some days.
You like Kevin's?
Sometimes it takes the edge off. Sometimes
after
too
the
much.
show.
Yeah, after for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too lost in thoughts, which can happen.
So I hear you might have a secret for us today, a surprise.
Was it something about like making noise?
Yeah, I heard.
Something? Yeah. Okay. Well, what I thought I could do is what's happening now is like kind of got this in at this house that we bought last year. There's actually have another building that we're converting into like kind of being a full-time sound stage. But right now it's already 100 degrees in Texas, if you can fucking believe that. And that room is not yet air controlled. So I've moved my setup into my other like kind of just, this is like sort of my studio space in the house. But I'm just working on background video. We're getting ready to shoot a video for one of the songs, and I'm kind of just experimenting with getting my set together for Seattle. So what I thought I might do is just give everybody a look at like where I'm at in my creative process as of this very minute.
Nice.
And kind of getting, and I'm glad that we had talked about this because it was actually a good exercise just to get everything set up. And part of rehearsal is just sometimes like breaking down the gear and setting it up again and remembering how all those parts fit together. So it was a good exercise. And so I've kind of just put together a little bit of a mini set and thought we could kind of see where things are at for me. And I'll do Lacerations, which is the cover that you showed. I've been playing that live, and that is actually already out of the EP. And then I'll play one other song called The Reveal, which is also from Immoral Emporium, and I have played that live at least once, so I'm happy to share it here. So maybe we'll see what happens from there.
We're very lucky. We're very honored, and thank you very much. Don't forget to turn down your attenuator.
That's right. What's going to happen? I just need a minute or two to get a couple of.
Yes. Perhaps I can chat while you get yourself ready. Have no fear, my friend.
All right. Very good. Bounce cameras.
So typically what happens when we have a setup like this is the vocal mic will be a little bit low. So we have Curse turn up the attenuator, but now he has to turn it down so that he can do his performance. So the chances of us hearing him talk probably won't be as good right now, but it will be in line with the mix of his music.
I got to switch cameras.
He's going to switch cameras. You talk about being together here. I guess that's part of the pluses of working with a cable network and getting your stuff together. I mean, that's what we need here. Multi-camera. You could have a camera on the cats. I should have made you perform in the room that's 100 degrees and say, I'm getting my revenge. No, really, I think Texas gigs are known for some of the hottest gigs that you do. You got to prepare yourself for them. Curse is now preparing himself. He's getting himself into the area, the sub-zero area. He's got his AC on, hopefully over there. Hey, it's also good to know that it's 90 degrees up there. Here we go.
Check, check, check. 1, 2. Are you catching some of that audio?
Yes, it's all good. Sounds right. How about this, people? Oh, wow. We got the special. This is not very often that people have done this on the shoe. So I thank you for doing this. It's exciting. Are you ready? You think you're ready?
I think I can. I'm gonna switch cameras, and then I should be good to start.
Okay. Let me know, and I'll give you an introduction. I'll try and be as Jimmy Kimmel as possible. Oh, there's another camera. Nice. Wow. Looking good. Ladies and gentlemen. Live. Get live.
Okay, I think all is well.
Okay.
Shall I?
You shall. Please, ladies and gentlemen, Curse Mackey.
is your return. Somewhere in this madness, we've got to carve out some place. This is an initiation into the abyss. Let's find our way through the apocalypse. Laceration slash across the universe. Revelations in reverse. Laceration slash across the universe. Revelations in reverse. We're all sacrificial. World's grief, a graveyard cry of our infinity. For those who forgot how to dream, this is your divinity. Somewhere in this madness, we got to carve out some bliss. This is an initiation into the abyss. Let's find our way through the apocalypse. Naked evening spectacle of pale flesh. The consequences of the senses. Conscious of the subconscious. Unconscious of the unconscious. Unconscious. The universe. Revelations in reverse. Lacerations flashing across the universe. Revelations in reverse. Lacerations flashing across the universe. Revelations in reverse. Lacerations flash across the universe. Revelations in reverse.
Woo!
Right. This is called The Reveal. Crucifix on cross, the devil's broken heart. They will never be the same again. They will never feel the same again. Hold on to each other. Everything else is death. We will never be the same again. It will never feel the same again. This is a catastrophe that you have to see. Don't be afraid to look, it complicates the dream. Or nothing's what it seems. Look for every pain you feel. It's complicated and it's real. Smash the altars that with you release your sorrows and reveal. Come in, close the door behind you. Now it's time for us to begin. Fight the war His dagger in the light, shine a filament of dreams. Wake up your scream. Kill for every pain you feel. It's complicated and it's real. Smash the altars at which you kneel. Release your sorrows and reveal. Kill for every pain you feel. It's complicated and it's real. Smash the altars at which you kneel. Release your sorrows and reveal. Crushed homage under the barrage. Conjured in the storm, the machine hard rock. Crashing with your own camouflage. Held hostage by your self-sabotage. Kill for every pain you feel. It's complicated and it's real. Smash the altars at which you kneel. Release your sorrows and reveal. Kill for every pain you feel. It's complicated and it's real. Smash the altars at which you kneel. Release your sorrows and reveal.
Man, stellar. That really turned out good. I mean, like, great job with the sound.
Oh, thank you.
And I really enjoyed that. I don't know. That was proving, as Rona was saying, that you can do this on Zoom. I don't think we've had as good a sound so far on Zoom. So you really nailed that one.
Thanks.
And the looks too, the lights and everything. It seems like you're pretty much ready.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for the exercise.
Dude, thank you so much for giving us that special treat.
That's my honor.
I absolutely think that people should be anxious to see you on June 30th in Seattle. And once again, that is in the what's it called?
Fest.
Mechanical Fest.
Mechanismus. Interesting.
Yeah.
Mechanismus.
And that is coming up on June 30th, and followed the next day by in Portland. No, a couple days later, July the 2nd in Portland. And so yeah, there you go. Curse in Seattle coming up, and in Portland on the 2nd. Man, dude, that was seriously good. I seriously thank you for that. That was a special treat. And
hope everybody enjoyed it.
Everybody enjoy that on the side. Well, yeah, brilliant, great performance, so good, so cool, so good, nice job, great stuff. Thank you to all the people on the compliments here. Oh, great job from Germany. Thanks, all of you people that are chiming in. Cannot wait till November with Cox.
Yeah, Zymox.
Yeah, with the Zox Cox. Yeah, I think that's great. Curse, thank you so much again for your time today. I love you like a brother.
Love
And
you so much, Kevin.
let's do this again soon, but I'm going to be keeping everybody posted. I posted the links to all the places where you can acquire these records and all the other CDs and goodies. Go there and support. It's in all of Curse's links, including his Patreon link, is in the description. Curse, have yourself a wonderful day, my friend.
You too. I look forward to the next time we can be in the same room together. And let's be in touch soon, see what else, what kind of magic can be made for all of the great people that are so kind to enjoy our art and support us. So thank you so much for everybody that took time out of your day to come listen to my shenanigans. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chase, and thank you, Rona, aka Sign, for tuning in on the side and putting in the comments. Thank you, Data Bomb, for your moderation, and all of you Patreon lovely folks. And we'll see you again soon.